Welcome back for another episode of The Physics That Heals. Before setting out on our new journey, I would like to thank you warmly for the many emails you have sent, full of very interesting points, and I'm planning a special episode to answer all your questions. Today, we are going to talk about a subject that you don't hear much about, but it is fundamental for a huge number of diseases. This subject is most commonly discussed when talking about aging, oxidation or oxidative stress. First of all, a clarification. Oxidation, or rather redox, is a biological phenomenon fundamental for life. In living beings, redox phenomena are fundamental for biological processes. For example, the cells of our immune system use the redox phenomenon to create free radicals, which then protect us from pathogens. In an even more generic way, the fact that we are beings that base our life on oxygen means that producing energy results in substances said to be oxidizing. So what is redox? It is a process through which one substance gives up electrons to another substance. We have a substance that oxidizes and another that is reduced. This is why it is called reduction oxidation or redox. It is one of the most common biological mechanisms and occurs constantly in our cells, without which we could not live. However, these redox phenomena sometimes occur as byproducts of other larger processes. For example, the generation of energy when ATP is generated inside the mitochondria. This is the fuel that cells use for all biological functions. During the production of ATP by the mitochondria, the creation of so-called free radicals is possible. Some of these free radicals are used by the body, as we saw, for example, by the immune cells to protect us from pathogens. But sometimes an accumulation and excess of free radicals can lead to a disorder known as oxidative stress. Oxidative stress means tissue damage resulting from an accumulation of free radicals. An excess of free radicals, just like an excess of environmental pollution, leads to tissue damage. And a widespread presence of free radicals and their accumulation in the tissues can potentially cause pathology associated with oxidative stress in any organ of the body. For example, we find damage caused by oxidative stress in neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and multiple sclerosis. We also find oxidative damage in heart attacks, metabolic and autoimmune diseases, and in cancer. So, oxidative stress, just as we saw for inflammation, represents a pathological basis for many disorders and diseases. And not only diseases, because we also find damage from free radicals after extreme sporting activities, which compromises performance. Finally, as already noted, an increase in free radicals and oxidative stress is observed in aging. It is common to use creams high in antioxidant to reduce what are known as the sign of aging. Other products high in antioxidant, like vitamin C, are taken by athletes to reduce fatigue and facilitate recovery after physical activity. Vitamin C is not only useful for sports people, and it is known to offer valuable support for our immune system in situations when there is a risk of infection, for example, in viral diseases. Vitamin C has a strong antioxidant action and helps the immune system against these pathogens. This will not be the first time you have heard that a diet high in antioxidants is important for long-term health. Another way of countering oxidative stress and an accumulation of free radicals is an application of extremely low frequency and intensity electromagnetic fields, ELF-EMF. In our cells, protection against damage from free radicals is provided by certain enzymes like superoxide dismutase and glutathione peroxidase. These enzymes, together with other biochemical phenomena that I will not discuss here for brevity, are fundamental for cellular homeostasis. In this context, the role of ELF-EMF is to stimulate the correct action of these enzymes. In addition to this, ELF-EMF also has an effect on mitochondria. It was discovered that the mitochondria reduce production of free radicals under treatment, which means less waste materials produced by the engine of the cell. Another important protective effect from free radicals using ELF-EMF is provided by the NRF2 transcription factor. The NRF2 factor plays a crucial role in protecting cells. Its activation leads to the triggering of 200 different genes, all acting to protect the cell from potential external damage. A study has demonstrated how the effect of ELF-EMF is comparable to the effect of an antioxidant diet as regards the NRF2 factor, stimulating its displacement from the cytoplasm to the nucleus, and so stimulating the transcription of the genes that protect the cell. Again, as we saw for inflammation and pain, the effect of oxidative stress on damage from free radicals is not focused on a single target, but is instead transversal. Since redox as a natural phenomenon and the production of free radicals is fundamental for our well-being and health, our aim is not to suspend redox and eliminate free radicals, but rather achieve modulation so that it occurs at a correct level. I would like to try and explain why this issue of oxidative stress and free radicals is so fundamental for the human body. And to do this, we can use the example of colors. Imagine we are inside a mitochondrion, the energy center of our cells, where a series of biochemical events must occur in a sequence to produce energy, the ATP. Let's say that these biochemical events are the color yellow. And as you see, everything has turned yellow, including myself now looking like SpongeBob. So what can happen? If there is excess production of free radicals, everything goes blue, and I become a Smurf. I cannot produce energy, and I have basically become something different, and there will be cellular damage to the mitochondrion. However, if the level of free radicals is correct, according to the biological processes that are required by the mitochondrion, everything changes color again. As you see now, green. And I have become the Incredible Hulk, without having to use gamma rays. Anyhow, we now switch back to black and white and today's topic. A study conducted in the early 2000s at the University of Perugia demonstrated that the application of ELF-EMF has the capacity to modulate the production of free radicals and so reduce oxidative damage. The peculiarity of this study was the assessment of the concentration of malondialdehyde in the blood. This is the substance produced from oxidative damage to the cellular membrane. They discovered that subjects treated with ELF-EMF who had high concentration of malondialdehyde showed a reduction in blood levels, while those who had excessively low levels of malondialdehyde showed increased blood concentration, returning within the normal range. So the effect of the production of free radicals and oxidative damage, just as we saw for inflammation, is to modulate the production of free radicals and balance the biological functions. After the study in Perugia, a team of researchers at San Martino Hospital in Genoa decided to experiment an integrated approach, combining ELF-EMF with polychemotherapy for the treatment of patients with Hodgkin's lymphoma. The results of this study were very promising and demonstrated that the use of ELF-EMF limited the side effect of polychemotherapy. For example, there was reduced mielotoxicity from the chemotherapy and reduced anemia, which is again associated with the pharmacological effects. When the researchers measured the oxidative stress of subjects treated with electromagnetic fields combined with polychemotherapy, they observed that the oxidation levels were lower. Chemotherapy is a procedure that tends to increase the level of oxidative stress. So this demonstrates that the electromagnetic field is able to invert this trend, limiting the patient's oxidative stress. Subsequent studies, both in vivo and in vitro, have demonstrated a synergy between ELF, EMF, and chemotherapy, revealing how this combination leads to increased effectiveness of the polychemotherapy. It appears that the synergic effect of both protection against damage caused by another therapy and improvement of the effectiveness of the same therapy is linked to a combination of the electromagnetic field with radiotherapy. With this example, I'm not implying that all hospitals should immediately start treating people with electromagnetic fields, combined with polychemotherapy and radiotherapy, because these are only in vivo and in vitro studies. But they offer an interesting opening for research and inquiry into possibility for improving the response to the treatments we have available for cancer. Another important research focus, which I am also involved in, is the use of electromagnetic fields to try and reduce damage to the nervous system. But these studies are currently underway, and I would rather not say anything yet. But perhaps in the future video, I will be able to bring you some very interesting news. You are reminded that the usual bibliographic references for today's discussion are provided in the description below. Anyone who would like to write to us can do so at the email address lafisicachecura@ionorisonanza.it. Today, I will say goodbye with the words of Plotinus. Teaching can only indicate the path and the journey, but vision will come only to those who want to see. See you soon.